Today, something a little bit different. I'm going to make a custom handled ratchet out of this vintage Powercraft brand ratchet. This was actually made by Wright Tools in the USA, and it was sold at Montgomery Ward. I'll talk about this ratchet a little bit more later. You can see this has the nitrile rubber comfort grip, and it has just really taken a beating over the years. So I'm going to cut this off and replace it with one of these. I made a post about a week ago asking you guys which of these handles I should use for the ratchet. This Wright handle, this Pratt Reed handle, or this snap-on. And you all voted, and the winner was not the Wright handle and not the Pratt Reed. You overwhelmingly chose this snap-on. The first step, obviously, will be removing this old grip here. These grips are pretty resistant to chemicals and abuse, but sometimes, like this one, I mean, they just, after years and years, they don't hold up that well. I'm gonna take this over and hit it with the wire wheel on my bench grinder just to get the last of this off of there. So here you can see why these are such good candidates for custom handled ratchets, because after you cut off that grip, it's just a plain shaft that's easy to insert into the handle. I did chamfer the edge here just a little bit so it would be easier to insert. Another reason these are such good candidates is because they're so well made. Wright is based in Ohio, and they are mainly aimed at industrial customers, but they have done private label production like these Powercraft ratchets for Montgomery Ward. Here is the big brother of this, which is actually branded Wright. You can see this one is marked made in the USA. I'm sure this one was also made in the USA, even though it doesn't specifically say that. This one also has a date code on it, 1990. Most Wright tools do have date codes. As far as I can tell, these Powercraft branded ones do not have date codes. You can see a 46 there, but this was not made in 1946. Also on these Wright-made ratchets, you can swap in on many of them newer rebuild kits. So this has a rebuild kit out of a newer Wright ratchet, which has twice as many teeth. Originally, this had about 40 or 45 teeth, and now it has around 90. I like these Wright-made ratchets so much that I pretty much always pick them up when I find them for a good deal because they're often really cheap. So I have this 1/4-inch drive Powercraft one here. Here are two more 3/8-inch drive models. These are also Powercraft. And can't forget these guys. So there are a couple different ways to approach this. I've seen people online who have lathes use those to drill a perfectly sized hole in these so that they can have a perfect friction press fit. I don't have a lathe or anything like that, so I do it a different way. I'm going to measure this, drill this out as close as I can, then get it on there and use a little bit of glue to make sure it stays in place. I also like to do it that way because then you have more flexibility to make sure it is lined up perfectly on the shaft and not rotated. So the diameter here we're looking at just right around 11 millimeters, or in inches we're talking about roughly 0.430 inches. I'm gonna start here with this 27/64 bit, and I can step up to 7/16 if I wanna go a little bigger. The most precise way to do this would be to chuck this up in a drill press and then drill it, but I don't have a drill press, so I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, by hand. I'm also wiggling the bit around just a little bit to make the hole a smidge oversized because the next drill bit size up will be a little bit too big. I decided to do a test fit and hammered the handle on, and I wanted to drill the hole a little bit deeper to insert the handle a tiny bit more. I did another test fit and everything looks good. The depth is right where I wanted it here to cover a little rusty spot. The handle is pretty tight on there. I can still spin it. That's just about what I wanted because I will add some glue in there, get the handle oriented how I want, and it'll hold it in place perfectly. Here's what I'll be using to glue it. I got this clear epoxy on Amazon for right about $3. I have also used Gorilla Glue for this in the past and it worked well, but I wanted to try this clear epoxy this time. You gotta work fast though, so I mixed it up, put some in the handle, and put it together. So here it is, the final product. And I gotta say, I'm really happy with how it turned out. You all made a good choice picking this snap-on hard handle for it. It's a little different than the original handle. Here you can see I have another one for comparison. It's a little bit larger, and I actually like that. My one criticism of these Wright ratchets is that on the 3/8 inch drive, the grip is a little bit on the small side. This is a little bit larger and fits my hand better. You know, this ratchet is decades old, but after adding this new rebuild kit and putting this new handle on it, this thing is ready for several more decades of work. So what do you guys think? Would you have done anything different on the installation here? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll be interested to hear what you have to say. And while you're down there, hit that like button and that subscribe button. I've got some interesting things coming up. And thanks for watching.